till he talked to her.
Yeah, I bet that's true. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
We're
y'all. We're
live.
just talking away. So,
I know we should have saved some of that for the show, but we can probably recap.
oh yeah, we can recap it. It's easy.
Well, hi, everybody. It's Amy from Earth Spirit, and I'm here with the beautiful Sherry from Voices from the Swamp.
Thank you,
And
ma'am.
Sherry, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I've watched
Oh,
you on other people's shows and with Allie, our friend Allie.
yeah.
And yeah, so I wanted to.
Allie was one of the first ones to invite me on when I first stepped out and said, "Okay, I'm going to do this." And she invited me on her show. Um,
Yeah.
she was doing a it wasn't like a regular show like what we do now. She was just doing like an introductory series where, as new people were coming on, she would have them come on her channel and say who they were and what they did and why they were doing this and what led them to this point. And so that was kind of cool. And she's just such a sweet lady. She really is.
She
And
is. And
so,
she has that ability to bring people together and make them feel comfortable because I was really, I know like you, it's nerve wracking a little bit. And she just has a magical quality of letting you feel that it's going to be
it's the
okay.
teacher in her.
Yeah.
It's the teacher in her. I mean, she's she's obviously a very good teacher because she's very good at getting her points across without taking an hour long to say it or doing it in such a way that you're sitting there going, "What?
Yeah.
What you talking about?" So, um, yeah, but there's a lot of really good people in the community,
Indeed.
um, and it's nice because we all tend to um, take care of each other or look out for each other. Or, if somebody has something or needs something, all you got to do is say the word, and you got people sending you prayers and Reiki and everything else under the sun. So,
Yeah.
and that does work. It does help. So,
It really
um,
does. I've noticed that when somebody will post something that, let's say, Kim at Intuitive View, and she'll post things about people that need prayers. I mean, I always try to stop and say the prayer, and she comes back and says that the prayers worked. And I really think collective prayers have a huge, make a big difference. I mean, it's pretty amazing that we have that. Each of us, little person out on the in the world, have that impact. We come together, and it really helps.
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen just in my personal life, I've seen things just turn around on a snap because all of a sudden there was a couple thousand people that were sending thoughts my way, and it just flipped the board. So um it can make a big difference. It really can. And it's comforting to know that there are people out there
Mhm.
who kind of have your back. um,
I agree.
um, as long as long as you do the best you can do, and you're you don't like be rude or ugly to somebody. Is
Mhm.
we've had a few of those kind of people kind of filter through, and it just
Yeah,
kept right on going, and you don't see them anymore. um
yeah,
because people just didn't want to deal with them. It's like, I don't need that. If I want that, I'll go hang out outside with all the crazy neighbors. Yeah,
Do you, do you do the same thing? You just say bless you, and then bye bye, to send them on their way, and God bless you.
that's it. Yeah, well, it's down here. We tend to say, just don't let the door hit you, with the good Lord split you.
Yeah,
All right, bye.
yeah.
And I
Well,
mean, I'm in the deep south, so I'm surrounded by idiots.
yeah,
And a lot of people, I mean, there's actually a lot more progressive people down in the south than folks realize. It's just they've been silent for so long that they're not in any positions of power. They don't run for office. It's like trying to get them involved to run for office. Um, and I mean, up until a few years ago, if people said, if somebody was to tell you they were a Democrat, it would be like, I'm a Democrat. Don't tell nobody. And that,
yeah,
like it was something shameful. It's like, come on, people. And
Yeah. So is it? How do you think it's going right now? Have things changed, or is it? Do you think it's worse?
what here where I'm at,
Yeah.
or in general?
And in general in the South, or just where you are too, because
In
you're near
general, in the
Florida.
South, I think it's in pockets. It just depends on where you land.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, there are some areas here that are so deep red, I don't think they'll ever change just because their focus is on one thing and one thing only. And they've been brainwashed to the point that you can't, it's like you can't get them to even listen to the fact. It's, you know, I got family members that are Trumpers, you know, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
do too.
they call me up on the phone and they want to bitch and moan and complain about um, whatever's happening at the current time. And I'm like, okay, and who did you vote for?
Yeah.
You got what you voted for. So why are you complaining about it? You know, if
Mhm.
you didn't want that to happen, then you should have voted for the other guy or the other lady, you know, depending. And so I had a cousin call me up. That's about 6 months back, I guess, and sometime this past year. Call me up on the phone one Sunday afternoon, hysterical. Did you know they're trying to take away our Social Security? They're gonna
Mm.
take away our Social Security and our Medicare. And I'm like, yeah. He said, well, how did you know that? I said, because they've been saying they were going to do it for 50 plus years. That's how I knew. I said, you just don't listen to what they say. You know, you only hear what you want to hear and you don't listen to the rest. I said, so, you know, you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
But,
And let's say hi to Ellen and Gina. Thanks for being here.
oh, hi, Gina.
Hello,
Hi, Ellen. And
guys.
two good standards. So, do you have any moderators yet on your channel?
I do not because I hardly ever go live. Have
Okay,
you noticed
well,
this?
you
But
might
yeah,
want to, you know, like there's usually a handful that always show up, you
yeah,
know, for people's live streams. Um, and they're pretty good at moderating. I mean, basically it's just kind of a helping hand. If a troll pops into your chat,
hmm,
a moderator can deal with it. You don't have to stop what you're doing to deal with it. Um, so hi Heather, Indigo Jaguar, Intuitive Arts. That's Heather.
oh, hi
Um,
Heather, and
and
hi
Janet,
Janet from Sweden.
and from Sweden. Wow.
I wish
What
I
is it,
was
like in
there.
the
It's
middle of the night there? It's tomorrow or something like that. It's you're bound to be in the future.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, probably. It's so hot here. I wouldn't mind going there for a little bit.
where are you at?
I'm in Kansas. I'm outside of Kansas City, and it's just
Oh,
been really hot. Like we've had a couple days off this week, but then it's starting to go back up. We were in the hundreds, which is kind of unusual this time of year.
we went. Now I'm in the deep south, and technically I'm like 30 miles from the Gulf Coast. If I could just go in a straight line,
Yeah,
that's about how far I am. Takes a lot longer and further to get there because you got to go around all the little levees and bayous and swamps and everything that's all in the way.
yeah.
Because I'm down in Louisiana, and but we have had triple digit heat, not counting the heat index. We've had triple digit heat. We had it for like 30 days straight, nonstop.
Oh
With
my,
the heat index, it was like 115 to 120.
oh my gosh.
Like we're not prepared for that down here. We don't, you know, it's like it gets hot, but not like that. I mean, that's like hot when I lived in Phoenix for 10 years. You expected 115 to 120-degree temps.
Yeah,
But not down here, you know, just doesn't get that hot down here normally, but it's been ungodly hot, and which is why I've been keeping my eye on the tropics because we've
hmm,
got three more storms shooting in this direction, and just like what happened with Adelia that just went through, the minute it hits the Gulf waters, the water's too
yeah,
hot. The minute it hits that hot water, boy, poof, it just blew up into a hurricane. And fortunately, it was a fast mover. It
yeah.
moved
Did
fast.
you Did
Got
you
in
feel
and
the
got out.
effects too much, or was it? How was it for you?
I mean, we were fine. It didn't come near us. It hit Florida, over on that side. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's a couple of them out there right now that are kind of like, yeah, depending on what the wind shear does and how things kind of move around, they
Hmm.
could come right this way. And I know when I pulled cards on it, about a month ago, just to see what to expect,
Hmm.
they were telling me expect, a couple of bad ones.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, that's great, just what I need to hear. And then, of course, there's several other readers that have had the same results when they've read for it. There's going to be some really bad storms this year, and that's just because the weather's so hot and the
Yeah.
water is hot. And
Somebody said it's supposed to break. Somebody said the cap is supposed to break, and that should help things. I'm like hoping that soon because it's like I would say that in July, late July and through August, it was crazy here because we had a ton of rain and it kept knocking everyone's trees down. And so like it was like every other day in town there was trees that were like branches falling off, and it's like what's going on? Because you don't have that and like July and August are kind of dry, and so you don't have like tornadoes and storm damage. You just kind of ride out the heat. But it's yeah, it was crazy. It was
you're
crazy.
in Kansas or Missouri?
I'm close to Missouri. I'm near the state line.
Okay,
So, yeah, it's
but you're in Kansas, Kansas City, Kansas. Okay,
yeah,
and then I
yeah.
knew there was two Kansas cities. I don't remember what state you said. I'm trying to picture where you are in my head geographically. So,
Yeah, I'm
um,
kind of like, do you
because
know? Have
y'all
you
get
ever heard of
a lot of bad weather through the Midwest there,
the? Yeah.
and that's because you get all that cool, dry air coming in off the mountains. You got
Yeah.
all the hot, moist air coming up from the south, and they clash, and kaboom, you get tornadoes. So, um, it's been, yeah, like I said, ungodly hot down here, and I'm just holding my breath, waiting for the storms. I
Hmm.
mean, when Adalia hit the Gulf, even though it was way over in Florida,
Hmm.
which is like 6 to 7 hours east of where I am,
Hmm.
um, we got rain. I mean, temps dropped down below 100 for the first time in a month, and we actually got rain one day.
Did
Um,
you go out and you're like rain?
oh yeah, I was like, oh my god, it's raining. It was wonderful. My son and I both were out on the porch going, it's raining. Um, with the dogs and the cat looking at us like we were crazy. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, but I'm ready for fall.
Me too.
I'm
And
ready for cooler temps.
yeah. Well, say hi to Sonia. Hi, Sonia. Hi, creature of the ether. Hi,
Hi, Sonia.
Janet said that it was 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Did she say 1 a.m.? Where was that?
Okay, it's
1 a.m.
Sunday morning now. It's 1 a.m. in the morning there. Sunday morning. She had
Yeah.
put that it was 1 a.m. where she was at. And I was like, Saturday or Sunday?
Yeah.
What day is it for you?
It's probably, yeah, it's got to be Sunday.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's Sunday now, she said, but
mm,
it's like 1 in the morning Sunday. So that would be like if we sat up late tonight and at 1 in the morning, that's where she's at right now. So that's cool. Because I know there's a couple of readers I like to watch that are in Australia, and they're like a whole day in front of us.
yeah. And isn't
And
that
like the
interesting?
book's gonna tell you, yeah, so and so calling from the future.
Yeah. I know they always have the new year before we do. And I always think
Yeah.
that's funny. But
Yeah, time change drives me crazy.
yes, and it's you think about for us how I'm always worried about missing in our time zone difference that I'm going to miss or be late.
You're
But they're like,
central or you're mountain?
I'm central.
Central. I'm central, so
Oh,
that's cool.
okay,
And
yeah.
but yeah, but like Heather she's Eastern time because she's up in New York.
It's like
Some
an
of the
hour off.
others are Pacific time. They're out on the West Coast. Um, so yeah, that's just wild. I don't know the time difference always, and the setting the clocks up and setting the clocks back. It's like just pick a damn time and stay with it.
Yeah.
I used to never think about it until I moved to Arizona for 10 years. And they don't do time change in Arizona.
You
They
know,
stay at the same
I
time year
love
round, and it's fabulous. It's like you don't have to
I
reset anything.
I love that because every time, and here we're coming up to it, when they do the daylight, what is it, daylight savings time in
Yeah,
October, I am so tired that whole week. And then my pets are like, "Why aren't you feeding me?" Like, "Why aren't you getting up in time? And why aren't you feeding me?" It's just so
exactly.
hard. And we lose all that sunlight that we would have
Yeah.
had. It's going to fade anyway as
Yeah,
winter
it's like pick one. I don't care which one you go with, just pick one and stay with it. So it doesn't
gets.
matter.
Yes.
But it's the changing back and forth that makes me crazy. Of course, now I think I have only two clocks in the whole house that I would have to manually change the time on.
Yeah.
Used to be a time when you had to change every clock in the house and all your watches and everything. And now most everything is somehow connected somewhere and you don't have to worry about it. It changes automatically.
It's always like the stove and the microwave that don't change. So you have to go in there and then they're always jacked up anyway. I'm one of those people where if it's ahead and that makes me think I'm late and then I hurry up, then I just leave it like that because I'm like, okay, this gives me a reason to like not be
I have
late.
all my clocks are like 5 minutes fast.
Yeah. Yeah, me
Give
too.
myself a few extra minutes there. Just like I set my alarm 30 minutes before I actually really need to get up because I know I'm going to hit the snooze button a couple of times. So
Yeah.
that's just, I'm not a morning person.
Me either. Now, I when I started to write a lot, I started to get up early and I have never gotten over the habit. And I'm talking like 5:30 in the morning. So,
I get up at 5:30 every day.
dude, there must be something about that. And do you wake up at 3 a.m. too? Because I like every night,
Yeah.
it's the weirdest
Now,
thing.
at my age, I wake up a couple of times during the night because I got to get up, go to the bathroom. My
Yeah.
bladder won't hold all night anymore like it used to.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I usually wake up somewhere between 2:30 and 3:30 every night. I wake up, gotta go to the bathroom. So, of course, it's trying not to step on the animals who I get up
Yes.
out of bed. They all gotta pop up like, "What you doing, mom?
Ah, me too.
Go back to sleep."
Yeah. I have one, my cat, I have a Maine Coon that my son brought home, but she became sort of enamored with like, I'm the mama. So, she hangs out with me a lot. And every night she wakes me up to snuggle like several times in the night. And it's like, that's nice and everything, but like I'm trying to sleep. So if I have to go to the bathroom or get up and check something, she wants to snuggle. And it's like, oh, come on.
Oh yeah, so we have two dogs and a cat. The big dog is my brother's dog. The little dog is my son's dog, and the cat is kind of community property.
Yeah.
And the dogs are terrified of her. She rules the roost.
Yeah.
But I was like, finally, some estrogen in the house.
To
Surrounded by
balance it out.
testosterone. Because I had my brother, his son, and then my son. And we had two male dogs. It's like, okay, I'm surrounded. and, but now we finally got a female kitten. And, well, she's not a kitten anymore. She's a cat now. She's over a year old. She's a mess and very demanding. She wants what she wants when she wants it, and it's right now.
Yeah. Cats have a certain way. I know that if I leave my chair, then I'm not going to get my chair back. So if I have anything to do on the computer, I better get it done because my chair is going to get stolen. That's how they
Yeah,
are.
I had a cat for 16 years before he died, and he was my baby. He loved to come lay across the top of the keyboard. Like, yeah, go ahead. Let's see what you can do.
Yeah.
Flop. And he
Yeah.
just right there, just wouldn't move. You'd have to like get your hands up underneath him to get to the keyboard. Yeah,
Yes. Have you ever
but
seen that one? It's like a meme where they show Michelangelo trying to paint, and then there's cat paw prints all over the painting. It's like cats messing things up since the beginning of time.
yeah,
They just love to, yeah.
so very true.
But we love them though.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, love yeah. Heather's got a beautiful black cat, solid black. God,
Yeah, they're
he's
so pretty.
gorgeous. And she was like, "That sounds like my Ziva." Yeah,
Yeah.
But anyhow,
Well,
anybody
let's
else want to pop in?
yeah, and hi,
So
and
what are we gonna
Janet.
do?
Looks like your English is fine. I think you're. I didn't notice any. Yeah, looks good. I
I
wish I
got
could.
halfway through my new manicure.
Oh, nice.
I still got 4 nails I got to put on, but
I'm
I
so
got
bad
two.
at
I
it.
got four of them put on. I do my own. I do gel nails
Yeah.
and do my own nails. So it's like it takes me like all day long to do it
And
because I'm
then
so
something
sick of
happens, and
it.
I always do my
And yeah, and
nails.
it's constant interruptions and get up and do this and do that, and it's like
Yes.
okay, I'll come back to it later. And then it's like I planned on having them all done for tonight. It just didn't work. Oh well.
But I do mine. I'm like my body repels nail polish because I will do my nails and then something happens and they're just totally jacked up and so like the dishes, I'll do the dishes or
Oh yeah, regular nail
my shoes.
polish doesn't stay
Yeah,
with me. It peels right off.
indeed.
So
So Indigo says she has, and that's Heather. She has two black
she
kitties,
has two of them. Yeah, that's right.
Momsy and Ziwa.
Yeah.
Ziva, nice.
And she's
Black cat.
telling you you're doing just fine.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, but and my
I'm
daughter.
telling you, Janet, that would be nice if we all spoke the same language.
Yeah.
Because I work at a university in the computer science department. So 90% of our student body in just our departments are all foreign
Mm.
from the Middle East, the East, south of us, from around the world. And they all speak English second, their language first. And it's still, even though I've been there now for over 10 years, I still have a hard time understanding some of them in their accent. And they try so hard to say it right.
Yeah.
And, so I got into the habit where I just say, especially with faculty, I just tell them, oh, well, just shoot me an email so I don't forget.
Yeah, that's a good
I don't
idea.
know what the hell they said to me.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to get to the point where our phones will just have automatic translation.
Translators, they're already working on that.
Yeah.
That's already being dealt with.
Yeah.
I know. I know for a fact that's already being done.
It's a good idea because that kind of makes the world a little bit smaller and it helps look at this like we're together and it just makes it easier for us to communicate and
Oh
so
yeah, I mean,
yeah.
if we had somebody in here that was, from another country that spoke another language,
Mhm.
there's a lot of hesitation because you're not sure if you're saying it right
Mhm.
or in the right context because you don't want to insult anybody.
Yeah.
Um, and so that would really come in handy to have instant translators, like Star Trek. You just push the button and tell you what it says.
Mhm. I think
No,
we're getting there. It's
oh yeah, we're very close. In
what'd be
some
nice.
respects, we are there, but we're very close to
Yeah.
across the board. And I work in computer science. Remember,
Well, that's
there's
cool.
all kinds of things we're very close to getting accomplished. So
Yeah,
uh,
that's great. I love
I
that.
think the only thing I've seen my faculty kind of freak out about is when Chat GPT
Oh yeah.
hit the open airwaves, and they were like, "Oh my God, what are we gonna do?" Da, 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 da. Like, well, you got to pay attention, and so because it's
It's
a lot
probably
easier for students to cheat. So
yeah. I think that it would be hard. It's hard for teachers. I don't know how they're going to deal with that, other than they might have to change grading and how they, how
yeah,
they do
oh
things.
yeah, grading, testing,
Yeah.
all that's going to have to be kind of
Hmm.
rethought out. How do we blend with this in such a way that it's not cheating, it's helping because
Right.
it's actually a good thing in a lot of respects. Like so many things,
Yeah.
it's good as long as you use it for good.
Right. As
Um,
long as it's yeah. And that's why like Elon, I have this big thing about Elon and how he tries to control everything. And he kept saying, "Oh, well, we can't have that AI." And then so after he attacks Google AI, what does he do? I've got my own. Well, of course you do, because the
Yeah.
one that you tried to destroy, of course, because you already planned on having. And I don't
Well,
want his
he's
AI.
ruined. He's destroyed Twitter. I mean,
Yes.
I know some people that are. I still have my Twitter handle, but I don't use it anymore. I don't go on Twitter anymore. It's like every time I go on there, I get hit with so many different trolls and this and that and the other, and there's so much
Terrible.
misinformation now that it's like I don't know what to like. I don't have the time to sit and spin with that.
I don't either. I
Heather
mean,
wants to know what kind of topics are we going to read on.
yeah. What now? We probably can take some personal questions. But we were going to, like, I read on, like Sherry. I'll read on politics and current events, and I'm kind of what I think what we are. I feel this way about you too. Is that we're social justice warriors. We're here on Earth
Yep.
to fight this guy and keep the truth. Like, I know that whenever I speak the truth of what I get intuitively, I feel like it helps, even though I'm not very well seen yet, and that's okay, because I feel like when I say it, it does help change things.
Oh, sure it does.
Yeah.
Sure it does. Because if you say the truth to
Hmm.
one person and then that person goes out and they hear someone say it wrong, 9 out of 10 they're going to correct them and go, well, no, actually that's not right. It's actually this or that or the other, and who knows who hears them when they say that, who thinks, oh, let me look into that, so the butterfly effects in essence, it just depends. It's like I tell people I'll read on anything. I read on politics, I read personal, I read social. The only thing I don't read on is medical and legal because I'm not a doctor and I'm not a lawyer. I can give you my
Yeah,
opinion on something, but
that's right.
I can, if you ask me about having neck surgery, well, I can tell you my personal experience of having neck surgery and how it worked with me, but
Hmm.
that's not going to help you make your decision on what's going to work for you. You need to go see a doctor,
Right.
And so, yeah, I'm fairly easy, it's like whatever you want to ask, I'll throw cards on it. If
Me
I
too.
get an answer, get an answer. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah,
So
I'm the same way. Like, before all of this, I was really starting to get into cards and astrology, and trying to find that I had mediumship abilities, and I probably would love to do a lot of that. But then I really got pushed into in 2020 that we had to keep the truth because they have so much propaganda. That's really what it
yeah,
is. He's a narcissist, and he lies to survive, like 45,
help me.
and he lies to survive. So that's his problem. But everyone around him that enables him, they're spreading this
And
propaganda,
spreads
and
the
they sort of
lies.
use him in a way. Yeah. And so people like
Well,
us have to keep the truth out. And that's one thing that I like Michael Cohen, he keeps the truth out. I really love that about
well,
him.
yeah, and I mean, and he worked for the man for what 15 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And like he said, he knew he was crooked, but that's I gotta put my hair back. It's too hot in here. Um, so there's a lot of things you can close your eyes to and pretend like it's not happening if you're benefiting from it. And I think that happens in a lot of respects, no matter what the topic is. Um, it's real easy to close your eyes and pretend your spouse isn't cheating on you because you don't want to deal with it, or it's real easy to ignore that lump that keeps getting bigger because you're scared to go to the doctor.
Right.
So you ignore it until you can't ignore it anymore. Um, so, oh, Janet asked a good a good question.
Let me
You
see if
know,
it'll let me. There. Oh, I figured it out. I was wondering if I would figure out how to post
you
questions.
just click on it, and if you look on your StreamYard chat,
Yeah.
when you put you can actually click on the far right on each little message
Okay.
box. There's a star, and you can star questions. Like you can kind of skim through and then star them, and
Yeah.
they'll go into a a separate chat room, like you've got private chat and comments, and then you'll have starred. And
Okay.
then that way it helps you keep up with who asks. If you get 6 people that ask you a question, you may lose the first few ones because the chat keeps scrolling, and after a certain bit they cut off, and then you
Oh,
can't go back no further anymore. So
well,
it's
thank you.
easier if you can star it. So
Good. Yeah, that I didn't know. So that's good to know. I was wondering if how you guys did that. I thought maybe everybody had a moderator that that did it, and I was like, well, that
some
can't
people
be. Oh,
do.
there she is,
Some
Mom.
people have someone that like stay backstage. They don't like come
That's what I
online,
think.
come on air with them, who they just handle the chat because their channels are so big
Yeah.
that they just can't keep up. It's practically impossible. Um, so uh, yeah, I know Heather. Heather doesn't like politics. She doesn't read on politics, and that's cool with me. When she and I
Yeah.
read together, we read on things totally different, and that's fine. It's a break. So, like I said, I do whatever. Um, so we got Janet's got a question, and then
And I can
Sonia underneath her has a question.
see that.
And
Yeah,
so
she
that you
stars.
don't lose that, you can, like I said, go to the right and click on the little star,
All right.
and it'll star it so that you make sure you don't miss anybody. See, so now you have a column,
All
a
right.
little heading at the top right that
Yeah.
says starred. And if you click on that, it'll show you whatever messages you've starred. And then to get back to the live chat, you go back to live
All right.
and you click back to live. And that's the easiest way to do it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's good.
I'm
Yeah,
sure
that's.
there's other question or other shortcuts that I probably just haven't
Mhm.
figured out
Yeah.
yet.
I think
Okay.
I can handle this. If it gets more complicated, like, what
You
question?
know, take it one day at
And
a
then skip.
time, and as you come across things that you're not sure about, write it down. And then all you got to do is ask one of us have been doing it for a while.
Yeah.
Shoot an email and say, "Hey, how do I do da 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 da?" da?" And somebody will answer you, tell you how to do it.
Mhm.
And so I mean, I do it. I still do that. If I'm watching somebody else and I see a reader do something, I'm like, "How'd you do that?
Yeah.
How
That's
did
good.
you get that done?" And then they'll tell me. So
Mhm.
um,
Well,
let
let's
me.
think about. I was going to say, okay, for Janice, so Janet, can I ask if I will find love again after 12 years as a widow? And I'm sorry for your loss, Janet. That's hard.
I just passed the 22-year mark from when my husband passed. So
Oh,
yeah, I get it.
sorry.
It's hard. I mean, of course, I have his sisters don't understand why I'm not remarried. It's like I did that already.
Yeah.
That may sound weird, but it's like I'm happy by myself, and I still feel married to him. So we would have just had our 40th wedding anniversary, um, the last day of July. So but some people are happier if they have someone with them, and that's okay too. And that's part of the joy of us all being different.
Well, I one of the first things I thought of is that I for you maybe you do you still feel your husband around you? Do you still
Oh yeah,
like yeah?
oh yeah. When he wants my attention, he tugs my hair.
That's sweet.
'Cause
Yeah, I think that if you when
I
there's
don't hear him, but I know when he's here. So
yeah, oh, that's good. Well, sometimes we have those people where this was one of our big lifetimes where we got to be together, and you don't feel like you know in your soul you don't need to have a whole bunch of other relationships to fulfill you.
right,
And I feel like for you that's probably what happened. And for other people they still need because there's other soul contracts that you need. And
exactly.
yeah,
Um, he was my soulmate. He was my best friend, and it's like I've just had no interest in finding anybody else. That
yeah,
could change tomorrow.
yeah,
I can meet someone a week from now and be like, oh, no, okay. zero in on this guy. We're gonna.
Yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen, so I don't put any doors up on it. It's just like I'm not actively looking. So if it does, if it happens, it happens, and if it don't, it don't. I'm not gonna worry about it. So, um,
Well, I think, for Janet, I think that it is a possibility. I did get romance. I got the card of romance. Oh, let's see if this will. I don't know if you can see that. I'm so sorry if you can't see. Well, it's romance and blessings and miracles. So those flew out. And my first thought was that your ex on the other side, who's still with you, I mean, spirit is right next. We are spirit. We're spirit in a body. The only thing that separates us is our body, but we are spirit. We're just in a lower frequency. Our bodies are vehicle. We're here on a mission, and but we're still spirit. And he's on the other side, and I think he is orchestrating when you're ready to find someone, and he's going to help find that person, and it will be a blessing. He wants
yeah.
all
I heard her husband tell me, yeah, she's gonna have somebody else.
Oh, good.
He's just not ready yet.
Yeah.
You may be ready, but he's not ready. And so you don't want somebody that's not ready yet, because then it's not gonna work. So just keep being you.
Right.
Just keep being you, and just be open to what may come your way. Um, but there is someone else coming your way.
I think
They're
so
just
too.
not there yet. So I like that, Heather. Never settle for second best. You got
Yeah.
it. And Janet saying he died. She found him dead in bed after 29 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm so
My
sorry.
husband died in bed. Yeah, I did CPR on him for like 30 minutes until
Oh
the
my goodness.
ambulance got there. And he died the night before our son's 17th birthday. That
Oh,
was a hard thing to have to. That was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life, was to look at my child and say, "Your daddy's dead."
yeah.
That's the hardest thing I've ever had to do. And but we got through it. You know, we went on. Life continues. I'm perfectly happy now. I mean, like I said, if somebody comes along, I'm not going to shoo them away.
so so if like, do you ever watch Outlander?
But he's going to have to want to treat me like a princess, because,
Right.
my last one did, and he spoiled me for it.
But did you
So,
ever watch Outlander? Did you
no,
see?
I haven't watched that because I don't have
Okay.
TV. I don't have cable anymore. So
Oh,
I got rid
yeah.
of it. I was like, oh, I cut the cord. If it doesn't come online, I don't see it. I don't have time for TV anymore.
Well, I think
Um,
that well, if you have one of the smart TVs, sometimes they'll if because it runs on your internet, you can get like on net. Well,
yeah, I've got Roku on the TV. I just never turn it on.
so it might
I
be
don't
on.
think I've turned the TV on in the last year.
Well, that's good.
Seriously,
I
I
don't blame
mean,
you.
I
I'm
just
kind of a
don't turn it
TV
on.
addict. Well, I was going to
Um,
say that. Well, I was going to say a lot of women love Outlander because of the guy, and I think
yeah,
he
yeah.
still feels like that romantic,
Oh
a
yeah. I
perfect guy
mean,
or whatever.
and if life was really like that, wouldn't it be wonderful? But it's
Yeah,
not. Um, yours is gonna have a poochy stomach and bristly jaw, and and crappy nights when he doesn't feel good, and the same is true for you. So, well, you won't have a bristly jaw unless it's a same sex marriage. But um, other than that, though, it's you have your good days and your bad days. Anyway, Janet, I pulled a couple of cards from you from the Healing Waters Oracle deck. It's still fairly new, so I'm still kind of learning it. And I want to double check. I think I know what that one means, but I want to make sure I'm remembering it correctly. The first one I pulled was in call, which basically is is like you come from behind the veil, or the veil is parting for you. Um, it states in here that you're a healer and you're a seer,
Mhm.
and that you're going to find your soul purpose. And whoever it is that's coming may be the one that's going to deliver, help bring about that soul purpose for you. And then I pulled uh, bounteous, and that just simply says generously given, relationships coming together. Hello. And there's two, what is that? Two, Jesus, I'm blind. There's two women and it looks like a god or something there with them. So, that could be you're going to meet someone in, 2 months, 2 years,
Mhm.
whatever. Um, but someone's coming. Just be patient. Keep making yourself be the best person that you can be, and just keep your options open. And it's that easy.
So she says that she was, her boys were
Yeah, my
20 and
husband
22.
was 45. I
Yeah.
was 39, and I'm now older than my grandmother was when she died. Um, which is wild because most of the people in my family live until their 90s.
Hmm.
Um, but my grandmother didn't, and my mother didn't. So it was like, okay, I broke all the other gen- her- heritage things in the family as far as our direct line went. So I'm going to break that one too. It's like I'm not in any rush to go anywhere.
Hmm.
And
Well,
okay,
yeah, you got to stick around. We need you here. And this is, hey, we got through the pandemic and everything. So let's hope that we can all, got to hang in
absolutely.
there.
That's how I found this community was the pandemic. I mean, my mother
Yeah.
had just died. I'd been taking care of
Oh,
her. She had severe dementia. Um,
oh,
my mother had just died. The pandemic hit. Everything got locked down. My boss just sent me home with a computer and said, "Yeah, just do what you do at home." I was like, "Okay," because I sit and work on a computer all day anyway. Um, and I just got really, really depressed. I was not in a good place,
oh,
emotionally or spiritually. And I just went online one day. I would go read my horoscope, and one day I had a reader's channel pop up for political tarot, and I was like, yeah, yeah, I've heard, because normally what you were used to hear was just from the other side of the coin. And I don't know what made me click on her to watch, but she was a progressive political tarot reader, and I was like, I didn't even know that existed. And I started watching her, and that led to another person and to another person, and down the line it went. And about 6 months went by, and I finally decided to speak up in the chat one night, and I had people jumping all over me saying, "Well, we've been waiting for you to say something."
oh.
I was like, "How'd you know I was here?" I didn't realize there's a way you can look and see who's in the chat room.
Oh.
Um, and I said, "Well, I didn't have anything to say until now."
I'm
And
kind of
about
like that too. I don't always say stuff because I'm like,
yeah, um, and then about a month went by, and I had one of the other ladies in chat, a reader, who one night she messaged me and she says, "Send me your address." And I'm like, "Why?" She says, "Because I'm going to send you some cards. You're a reader and you need to start reading."
oh, cool.
And I
Oh,
went,
nice.
"Okay." So I gave her my address. She sent me 2 decks of cards. Cartomancy Mesquite is her channel name. And sweet, sweet lady. Angela's her name. Um,
Good for
and when I first started throwing the cards, I was very intimidated because everybody seemed to know what they were doing. And I was like, I have no clue. I have to stop, look up every card to see what it means. I still have to look up some cards because I forget. But I started when I would watch readers throw cards, I would throw cards with them
hmm
and see what I got. And if I got the same kind of message they had, or if I pull some of the same cards that they pulled. And that's, I kind of just self-taught myself that way. And then there was different people of us, we would get together and practice on each other, meet up in a Zoom room or something and just practice reading on each other.
That's a really good idea because,
So,
well, because sometimes we don't have the money to have readings, and you
right.
need to learn how to read. It's hard to read for yourself, and so to have people like a trusted friend that can read for you, that's really good. I like that.
Yeah, there was, I guess a couple of weeks ago, there was a young lady in the chat who just got her first deck of cards. It was just starting. It sounded like she was repeating what I had been saying. She was
Yeah,
so intimidated.
yeah,
She didn't know what to do. And a bunch of us in the chat room were all like, just say something. You got a room full of people in this chat who will
yeah,
gladly practice with you. Just say the word. We can meet FaceTime or Zoom or whatever it is you got and practice. And
indeed.
I said, if nothing else, just throw cards as you're watching the show and see if you're throwing the same cards that the reader is, or if you're getting the same message but with different cards. And it
Yeah,
just, you know, as if it speak up and say something. So there's a lot of people here that will practice with you. Just say the word. And so hopefully, she's reached out and found a couple of people to practice with. It wasn't on my channel, so I was in somebody else's chat. So, I don't know if she was even aware that I had a channel or not. But a message from my nephew Tom.
yeah. That's I have a nephew Tom too, so that's interesting. Well, I'm getting something about, and I think I've said this before for somebody, but something about the song Jeremiah was a bullfrog. So I don't know if he liked that song or if it just kind of describes his energy, if he was an outdoors type of guy and maybe, drive his truck to the lake. And I kind of get that about him. And this came out twice. We are soulmates. And I know that sounds weird. Oh, you probably can't see it. Oh, come on, camera. We are soulmates. And we have many soulmates in our life. Usually it's a really close circle. It can be family, it can be our parents, friends, it can be pets, and of course, love. But I think that he definitely considers you like a kindred spirit. Um, I just kind of heard you're his favorite aunt. So, um, yeah, he loves you. He's standing right next to you. He's standing right next to you. So don't
Do
freak
you
out.
like dogs? When you said Jeremiah was a bullfrog, the first thing I saw was him with dogs.
Oh, yeah, that
Because
makes
Three
sense.
Dog Night was the one that did the song.
Yeah,
And you said the song name, and immediately I saw him with dogs. Um, the first thing I got for you, Sonia, is koala spirit.
oh,
Um, Spirit has a plan. You know that. Um, just keep going with it. And the koi fish spirit, there is always enough. So whatever it is that spirit is providing, they're always going to give you exactly what you need. And I think he's just reminding you that whatever you need, you just speak it out. The spirit's going to take care of it. They're either going to put it on someone's heart to send you something, or an opportunity is going to open up, or whatever. It's and just I keep seeing him walking around with dogs.
hmm, yeah.
So I don't know if he was a dog person or not, but he is now. Like he's got dogs around him, like multiple dogs around him.
I wonder if she has dogs that pass that he's with, because that would make
That
sense
could
to me.
be. That could be. He could have had dogs that passed. Sonia Have you had any pets pass over the years? Um, they could be with them because they will gravitate to those that they know. Um,
Doesn't seem like he like has a really warm, earthy energy about him. So that
yeah,
would make sense that he would attract and dogs, and he seems like a really warm person.
yeah. It's like I had a mental picture. You said the name of the song, and
Yeah.
I immediately got a mental picture of him like walking out in a field, like
Mhm.
out of the woods or something, and he had all these dogs with him, and they were just like taking a stroll and doing their thing.
I love that.
Um, that's wild. It was clear as a bell too. I saw that.
Yeah. She says he was a sweetheart. Well, he's still with you. He's watching over you. If you
Hi,
feel,
Sharon. So,
hi Sharon.
Sharon Sipe is a good person to make a moderator.
Okay.
She is a moderator extraordinaire. She moderates on everyone's channel
Nice.
and keeps up with it. I don't know how she keeps up with it the way she does, but she does. Um, so, and if you don't know how to do that, I can tell you after the show. It's not
Okay.
hard.
Thank
It's easy.
you.
Um, let's see. Do we have anybody else to read for?
Yeah, and real quick before we move on, I got something
Oh,
about how the falcons that not falcons but the vultures, the big vultures that fly in the summertime,
yeah,
and cardinals. So Sonia, if you have a particular cardinal that gets your attention, that's Tom. And I think that also I'll show it if it'll show up. Those big vultures that fly, they're the native people or indigenous people say that they're the peaceful symbol because they don't kill to eat, they pick what's already dead. And so it's a really high symbol when you see a vulture in the sky. So always
yeah.
like tickle them. I'm always like, I'm one of those people, I'm always looking up at the sky. So yeah,
You know
that
what's
would be
wild is I had never seen an eagle in real life. I'd only seen pictures or in the movies
yeah.
until we moved into the apartment we're in now, and we have eagle and its mate that
Oh,
swoop
cool.
through the parking lot right out here all the time. We'd been here about a month when they went swooping by like eye level, not way up in the
Yeah.
sky, but eye level. I was like, oh my God, that was an eagle.
That is so cool. Yeah, that's pretty
And
rare.
it's weird. Anytime I'm really feeling unsettled
Hmm.
and I'll go sit outside, and all of a sudden, here they come. I've tried to take video of them or pictures of them.
Yeah.
The minute I pull out the camera or the phones, they disappear. It's like
I know that happens to me
it's not
too.
meant for me to take a picture of. They're for me. So um, they're my animal guides.
Cool. Yeah, birds they are definitely spirit. Now people ask, are they spirit? Is that your loved one? But it's not. But it's they're they understand the energy and the voice of spirit. So birds know what to do. They have intuition. They're not like us where we have to use words all the time. Like the animal world understands what spirit's saying, and they're
Oh,
like,
very
okay,
much.
I'll fly over here and
Um, my son and I were sitting out on the patio one evening. We both smoke, but we smoke outside. And we were sitting out on the patio, and we were talking about my mother. It was I don't remember if it was her birthday. No, couldn't have been her birthday. I think it was close to Mother's Day or something. But we were just sitting there and we were just talking about her. And all of a sudden, this huge black and gold monarch butterfly
oh gosh, yeah,
came flying into the patio. I've never seen one of those in real life either. I've only seen pictures of them. And this was a huge butterfly. I mean, it was
wow,
good this big. And it just came and like flitted all around our heads, kind of going back and forth between us, and just for a solid 5 minutes, it just kept flitting around our heads and flying around us. And my son was like, "What do we do?" And I said, "Just don't do anything. Just be still."
Yeah.
And I put my hand out like this, thinking, well, maybe it'll land in my hand. And a couple of times it started to, but then it changed its mind, and it just flitted around, and then it flew off after a few minutes. And I had the strongest sensation come over me. That was just my mom saying
Oh yeah.
right here, hey, hello,
You
you're
know what
good.
that is? It's the transformation because they go from the cocoon of like our, yeah, they go through that
Exactly.
transformation. And yeah, I really feel that was her.
Yeah,
It's beautiful.
exactly. Okay, creature of the ether. I like that name.
Yeah, it's a cool name.
That's cool.
I know she's from Ireland, and she's a sweetheart. And so
Gina
cool.
M's a good moderator too.
Oh, okay.
You got several people in the chat that would make good moderators. So after the show, I'll next time y'all show up, you'll probably be blue.
So let's see. Her creature. Oh, my leg fell asleep here. Don't you hate that when your
Oh,
leg falls asleep?
yeah, I do that sometimes because of my back. I've got a real fried back. I have to sit certain ways, and if I don't get up and move every so often, everything starts going numb on me.
Oh no.
Yeah, you live with it.
Well, I write, and I get sometimes I feel like I have an out of body experience when I write, and when I'm done, I literally have to like pat my body down to get my circulation back up because it really it's like Avatar when you know when he sits in the pod and he goes into the Avatar world and he comes back and his body's getting weaker and weaker. I know this is a weird explanation, but that's what it feels
No, I
like.
understand that perfect.
You know,
I get my mediumship skills are just starting to wake up with me. And sometimes it's just real clear. I just know it. Sometimes I hear it. But a lot of times I'll get a movie scene
oh cool.
in my brain or a scene from a book that I've read to explain what it is. And when you said just like an avatar, I knew exactly what you were talking about. It was like, yep, got it.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, so Sonia, real quick, Sonia said, "Is this about Tom? He moved in his sleep but paralyzed while awake. He was in a wreck." Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
oh wow.
Yeah, that's sad. It's always hard to lose someone. You know, we we lose them. They don't lose us. We lose them, and that's we
Right.
have to wait. Yeah, to be with them.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're fine.
They're where there is unconditional love and no pain and just they're just going about doing their thing where
Hmm.
they are. They do come back and see us because they worry about us, but
Yeah.
we're the ones that hurt because they're not with us anymore. um and that's a hard thing, but it just takes time.
It does, and well, that kind of matches with creature because I got this card and we will be together again. And oh, I wish it would show up here. We will be together again. You will be together again. So, creature, I know that you understand this. I've read for creature before.
Oh, okay.
And so you'll be together again on this plane or on the next one or in another life. Of course, on the other side, we get to, we have that beautiful reunion. I think you're still, when you love somebody in the spirit world, you are together. There's really no separation
Oh yeah.
besides this. We can't see them because we have to get our work done here on earth, but they're still with you. And they want you to forgive yourself and keep your heart chakra open because when you close your heart chakra, you actually close yourself off from all their love, not only their love, so you can't feel it as much, but you're actually trapping yourself away from your own like manifestations and the things that I've said before that it's like you're in a dark room when you close your heart and you're looking out a window at all the stuff you love, all the stuff you want and the stuff you love. So like a garden and puppies and kittens and butterflies and all your favorite foods. And It's because your heart's closed. And if you open your heart, you leave that dark room and you walk into like the Wizard of Oz, the magical garden. And but it's us. We're so afraid and we close our heart. So keep your heart open. And are we still here?
Yep. We're
Okay,
still
good.
here. You just froze for a minute.
Yeah.
It
Whew.
happens.
You know what? You know what that probably was? Preacher. You know
Yeah,
who? Yeah, that was a
telling
message.
you, hello.
That's right.
Okay. First thing I pulled for you was the owl spirit. Owls are very important in the spiritual plane. It just simply says you see clearly now, because you do see clearly. You just have to keep your eyes open. And then I pulled turtle spirit. Now this is special to me, this card. Um, it says slow and steady wins the race. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Um, just keep doing what you're doing is what I'm feeling like they're saying to you. You're headed in the right direction. Just keep going through the motions. Keep taking those steps. You know, you're only going to see one step at a time. So just take that next step. That's all you have to do. And then ended up with bee spirit says sweet results await. So it's all going to work out in the end, and it's going to be for the good. You're going to be the one that benefits. But you just have to keep your eyes open, keep steadily moving forward, and you've got good results coming.
Nice. All right, well, let's see. And then next we have from Janet.
Okay.
Wants to ask, so let's see. And we're not angry. Don't worry about it.
No, not at all.
You're so sweet. It's good.
I am so humbled when people allow me
Mhm,
to read their energy to give them an answer,
I agree.
because it allows me to open up and let my guides and ancestors talk to your guides and ancestors in order to give you an answer.
Yeah.
You know, and to read your energy or the energy of the moment, what's going on. To me, it's a privilege, and I'm very humbled by, that people are willing to open themselves up and let me step in and read their energy. Um, because invariably we get a message from it too. You
Yeah,
know, it
that's
may not be
true.
the same message you get, but there's usually something in there I find that hits close to home for me as well. So,
I agree. That's often how it works. It's funny because when you read for someone, you're like, these cards are for me, but then you realize that when you just let go and just say what you're getting, it actually does resonate because they're drawn to you because you're similar. You have that message. You know, they needed to hear that. So yeah. Okay, so for Janet, what do we have? Just want to have something that flies out here. Well, you have. I wonder if my oldest son and wife will get their girl Melinda, 2 years, and 7-month-old back again in the future. So let me see what I hear. This is for Janet. I definitely think that it's an option. For Janet. If you want to go ahead, Shari, go ahead.
I pulled mouse spirit. It just says tend to the small things. It's there are things that they need to take care of and deal with that will open that door back up. Um, to let things flow through so that their children can come back to them. Um, I'm really feeling. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm getting a very big yes with my pendulum. Now, I don't know break it, Sherry. I don't know what the time frame is for it. I'm not getting a time. Times are hard for me to read. Sometimes it's clear, but most of the time it's not. I'm not getting a time frame. But I am definitely getting, they have things that they need to deal with, they need to take care of in order for that door to open back up and the children be brought back. It's but they got to tend to the small things. They got to take care of business and do all the little things that need to be done. And yeah, I'm getting a yes, it'll happen.
Yeah, me too. I really think that it's I get something about 2 months, I mean, it could be up to 2 years, but that could also be a process. So it's in the process. I feel like it's going to happen. And I got the situation will improve and no need to worry. So it will. I think there's just some regulations and some paperwork that has to be, there just has to, like you said, there has to be little steps that have to be taken and everyone's willing to do it. And it'll work itself out.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I know you said it's been very painful. I feel the first thing I thought was, yeah, it's going to work out. It's just not quite there yet, but it will.
Yeah, there are just things that they need to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
And
And they will.
whatever steps it is that they have to take care of to get to that point, they need to take the steps, do exactly what they've been told they need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And it's going to come out good in the end. Because I got a yes, it's going to happen. But
Um, that Janet, I don't know. A lot of us know in the spiritual community about the most benevolent outcome prayer, and it really does work. I mean, it doesn't work every time, but because nothing works, sometimes you have to go through some karma. We have to learn lessons in life. But the most benevolent outcome is along with your regular prayers that you do. You just say, "I pray for the most benevolent outcome that my Melinda and the children, my children's children, will be returned back home and the situation will improve," or whatever. You have to word it the way that you can, and just
yeah,
release it and you
but
say it
yeah,
out
asking for the most benevolent outcome
loud. Hmm.
is an excellent way to do it because then it's not you coming across as I'm asking you to do what I want. And spirit may be saying
Hmm.
it's not going to happen that way. But if you ask for the most benevolent outcome, then it's kind of an assurance that no one's going to be hurt in the process of what you're asking for, that it's going to benefit everybody involved.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right, Janet. They do have to help themselves. That's important because there are lessons they need to learn,
That's right.
is what Spirit's telling me. There are lessons that they need to learn. And in order to learn them, they have to go through these steps. Somebody can't do it for them. They have to do it themselves.
Yeah.
And
Because if they're not ready, then it could happen again. So they have to be in the right
right,
place. Yeah. And that's
right.
not fun for the kids. There's a lot of people like my neighbors, they have their grandkids, they took care of their grandkids and really took over the parenting roles. Like, and I think that happens a lot in America. For the last
Oh
10
yeah.
years or so, yeah, a lot of grandparents are taking care of their grandkids. And it's probably
Yeah.
the economy, and there's a lot of things especially in America, there's a lot of drugs like
Well,
opioids
it's
and
like,
meth and all that. And it's, yeah,
my son's 39 years old. I'm 62. My brother's a few years younger than me. His son is a teenager. And we all live together,
yeah.
in the same apartment together. It's because it's just more feasible.
Hmm.
It's hard to afford a decent place to live on just a single salary. And we had originally all moved in together to take care of my mother because we were tag teaming it. And then after she passed, we decided we've been together this long and it seems to be working. So, and
Yeah.
it makes it easier because there's always someone here to deal with whatever issues may come
Yeah.
up. There's always someone right here to rely on in emergency or something. Um, and it's just comforting. I know for me, it's comforting to know that my immediate family's right here with me.
Yeah. That's cool.
So,
Have you ever heard of, in Italy, the sons stay with their moms? They stay at home and they encourage them to stay. I don't know why, but that always cracks me up because you know how Italian families argue a lot, and it's just they're all like crammed in those little apartments, and I don't know, it's funny,
oh
but
yeah,
it's yeah. Well, let's see. Okay, so we have Creature and Heather said, "I always end my prayers with for the highest and greatest good and the highest and greatest good of all concerned," and that's really good.
there you go.
Yeah.
That's just another way of wording it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's like if you say, some like if somebody's vengeful and they say, "I hope this person dies so I can get that job." Well, like
Yeah.
you just send out the message to the universe that you want bad karma, and that it's going to come back. Like the boomerang's going to come back to you. So when
Oh
you wish,
yeah.
yeah,
What goes around comes around. Believe you me.
that's right.
Hi, Froxy Roxy.
Yeah. Hi, Proxy,
And
everyone.
so do we have anybody else? Is that everyone? Do we
I
get
think
everyone?
I think that might be it. If anyone else has any questions, go ahead. Otherwise, we're probably about to wrap it up. But you know what? We were going to ask. We haven't done it yet. Um, I was watching a movie about Princess Diana last night, and I think
That's
it's
right.
yeah, it's. I got a hit on her, and I remember when she died and
Oh, I
how
do.
it was devastating because she was like an angel on earth. And it wasn't just the way she looked or whatever. Actually, Diana was very tall, like I'm tall, and she was very tall and sort of she could be kind of gangly sometimes. She wasn't like perfect,
We
but
were
just
the
her
same
energy.
age. We got married at the same time. We had our first child at the same time. It was there were a lot of parallels for me with her. And when
Yeah.
she died, it was just like wow, it was devastating. Um,
Roxy, Roxy, thanks. It's just, this background that I have. I grew up in a library and then I worked at a library, and this background is just kind of comforting to me because I love books. But somebody told me that it looks like the Hall of Akashic Records, and I was like, well, no wonder I've always loved libraries because that's part of my spiritual path is to learn about the Akashic Records and
I grew up with books. We never had a TV when I was a child growing up, unless somebody gave us one. Usually somebody would find out my mom didn't have a TV and they would give us an old one that they had. And we'd have it until it broke. But we would go to the library every week, come home with a stack of books, yay high.
yeah,
And by the time I was 11, 12 years old, my mother was checking books out of the adult section for me because my reading comprehension was so far ahead of most kids my age. I'd already read everything in the children's section. It was like, I want something to read. I mean, and I, my mother was an avid reader. She never finished school. She never finished high school. She got pregnant and had me. Um, but she would absorb information like a sponge. Just she would read and figure it out, do it herself. It was, I once watched her take a carburetor apart, fix it, put it back together, and put
whoa,
it back in the car, and it worked.
that's great. I
Now, when
made
she
some.
did that, she had like the dining room table was covered, and no one was allowed to go near it because she had every little part as she took it apart to figure out what was wrong with it and fix it.
Yeah, that's great.
Had every part numbered and in order of when she took it off
Hmm.
so that she would know what order to put it back together. And she had it all laid out.
That's
And
awesome.
my husband and I just met and we're just starting to date. And I invited him over, and he came over and he saw that on the table, and he walked over and he was a fix-it guy. He did mechanic work. All he could fix anything. And he took one look at it. And he's like, "What is this?" And my mother like shot out of her book that she was reading in the living room. She literally came to attention and said, "Don't touch it. That's my carburetor. I'm rebuilding it."
That's
And he
great.
turned around and he looked at her and he says, "Do you know how to rebuild it?" She said, "I got a book." He went, "Okay, well, if you get stuck, just give me a holler." And he walked away from it. And I was like, I know that took a lot of courage for you to walk away.
Yeah, that's
But
great.
yeah, let's read on Diana.
Let's see.
What was the question we were going to ask her? Just,
Well, we can read just generally, but she definitely had a high purpose on Earth, and but she was still a woman, and that was one thing about the movie was it showed um, after the divorce with Charles, and he never really loved her. I mean, he didn't love her the way obviously that she should have been loved, and but she fulfilled a purpose as a humanitarian, but she was still a woman, and so it showed how she had certain relationships around the end. Um, and then I started to think, oh my God, was she pregnant when she passed? And they didn't tell
that's
because
right.
that they wouldn't. And did that affect like you know, a lot of the
And
silence afterwards? The royal family was really silent, which made them sound really guilty. But it made me wonder if there had been,
I remember there were rumors because the guy that she was with when they were in the accident and they were
yeah,
both killed was not the person she wanted to be with.
that's what the
He was
movie said.
actually in a relationship with another Middle Eastern man
Uh-huh.
who was a doctor. And that's who she had fallen in love with. And he loved her. But because of his family, they couldn't they couldn't be together, or he wasn't willing to rock that boat to be with her.
Yeah, it's just
And
sad.
so she started dating this other guy, according to rumor, to try to make him jealous.
Yeah.
Um, I
Oh my
think
God.
personally, I think she was so desperate for love and attention
That's what I think too.
that she would have made herself be happy with anybody that gave it to her. And the guy that she was with did love her, from what I gathered from everything I read back in the day. He was head over heels over her, because his father wasn't real tickled pink about it either, because it was just too close to the royal family. I guess there might have been issues there. I don't know, but
She never really had the freedom she needed, and nobody would ever let her just have that to be a human being. And that's it's so unfair. And in the movie, it's with Naomi Watts, so you might have seen it. It's on
yeah,
Amazon Prime, so if you look it up, it should be on there. Um, but it really showed how much the paparazzi uh, stalked her. I mean, it was criminal the way that they did it to
oh
her.
God, they hounded her. They hounded her in a way that just was criminal. I mean,
Yeah,
I know I would see excerpts, when they were be chasing her around from here to there. She just go to the store or something, and she was having to deal with these. Like, I can remember at the time thinking, God, that would drive me crazy. If I couldn't even go out the door to go to the gym without 50 people flashing light bulbs in my face. Um,
oh my God, Sherry, I have chills.
what'd you get?
Well, I did. I get the mother of cups, and it shows a pregnant. Uh, uh,
Oh, wow.
you can't see it, but it shows a pregnant woman, and it says mother. course, she was a mother. She was a mother. She was a wonderful mother. But I got the Ace of Cups in reverse, and I got this hit, and I was going to ask you about this too. Oh my God, I have chills. Okay, so last night I was like, after we talk about Princess Diana, let's talk about Janis Joplin because you're close to where Janis Joplin grew up in Port Arthur.
Look what I just drew.
What does it say? Can't
Birth
see.
mysteries.
Oh boy, yeah. Oh my
And
God.
it shows a newborn baby.
Hmm.
It says, "What are you being called to create?"
Oh my gosh.
Wow, I got goosebumps up and down my arms. That's wild.
Yeah, yeah. These, I think, like
You're right, Foxy.
Diana.
I think she was a lost soul.
Yeah. But she did, when she would do things like walk across the landmine or go, she was one of the first people who went into an AIDS hospital and hugged the AIDS patients and showed, and that changed everything because before that, there was a lot of stigma out in the press that, and schools, like you can't have your kid go to school if they have AIDS and gay men have AIDS. And it was just so, it
She
was so
broke a
awful.
lot of barriers when it came to the AIDS virus. The
Yes.
fact that she would go to the hospitals that treated these people and she would go and hug them,
Yes.
touch them. And for, I know I saw interviews with some of these men that for some of them, it was the first time somebody had touched or hugged them since they had gotten ill. And they couldn't believe it was her doing it.
Hmm.
But she showed the whole world that you don't have to be terrified of these people. They're sick. They didn't do anything wrong. They just have a virus. And that doesn't mean that you ostracize them, you know? Um, yeah, see, Allie made it.
Yeah. Hi, Allie. Nice
Wow,
to
I
see you,
can't
sir.
believe I started it with another deck and I was told to put it back. And I picked this one back up, and I still can't believe that's the card I pulled.
That's amazing.
That's
Well,
just, that
she do
blows my mind.
a lot. I think a lot of the things she did was because she was so um, lonely and unfulfilled, and so she had so much love. Like she was a very passionate. I'm guessing
Oh,
she probably
yeah.
had some Aries. I think she was a Cancer, but I bet she had a lot of Aries too. And she had a lot of love to give, and no one around her would fulfill that for her, so she had to go give it to people. And she just had that anyway. Like I think she was just one a very loving. Again, she had a high purpose, and
I
I think
know
she
that,
knew that she was there to do work like that, and that no one else was going to do it.
yeah. I know with her boys, uh, and I heard interviews of like people who were really close to her who talked about that when things started going bad with Charles, she
Mhm.
would go and talk to William about it and sit and cry on her son's shoulder about it. And he absorbed that pain from her. And when he met Catherine and they first started to date, the reason why they waited 8 years before they got married was because he wanted to be damn sure that she understood what she was walking into,
Yeah.
because Diana didn't get the help that she would have needed to traverse that lifestyle. I mean, I can't imagine going from my normal everyday life
Hmm.
into something like that, where your every movement is dictated and
Yeah.
scheduled and marked and photographed, and there's all these protocols, and you can't do this before that. And I mean, that's a lot on someone's plate.
And
And
she
then,
wasn't born into it like the,
and
yeah.
right, she wasn't born into that, although her bloodline was more royal than his. Um,
Interesting.
but the fact that the biggest, or I should say, the greatest heartbreak of all to her was while trying to learn and deal with this lifestyle that I mean, as they called it, the firm, that's what they call their family. This world that you step into, as she's stepping into it and trying to learn, she had a mother in law who wanted to help her but didn't know how. I
Yeah.
saw the Queen interview on that several times, and she always felt guilty that she didn't know how to help her. Um, at the same time, she discovers that her husband really didn't love her, but loved
Yeah.
someone else.
Which must have been very
And
painful.
so it was three people in that marriage, and
Hmm.
she was definitely on the short end of the stick. And the only people she really could confide in, I think, was William. And I think that's why when he met Catherine, he went to such an extreme to make sure that she got all the training, all the help that she would need to step into his world and
Yeah.
to understand completely what she was stepping into. And I remember an interview with the Queen that when she broke several, the Queen broke several cardinal traditional rules of royalty with Catherine because she liked her so much and she liked the fact that she could tell that she and William loved each other.
Yeah.
And I think she appreciated the fact that William was trying really hard to make sure she was prepared for that role. And she like invited her to go to the country home for Christmas. That's just not done unless you're a family, you know. And other things that she would invite Catherine to come with her to. That before was a big no-no. You don't do that, you know.
Yeah.
She was queen; she could do what she wanted to. But I think the main thing was that she realized that she needed to groom Catherine to be the queen. Because when William becomes king, Catherine becomes queen, and
Is it like
she,
queen consort or something like that?
yeah, I mean the amount of pressure that you would have to be under for that, you know.
Hmm.
And I think it all goes back to Diana and the fact that she didn't have that support system. She didn't have that kind of love around her, and she was unfortunately. I always felt like she was just so desperate for someone to love her for her,
Yeah.
not for title, not for her money, not for her position, but just for her, that
I agree.
willing to go with anybody.
You see, that's what I got about Janis Joplin too. That's why I think in some way they're connected because even though you wouldn't think they would be connected, but I got that last night, and then it came back again where they were both they did they sort of like gave everything they had to the public, and then they died uh, under that sort of like that pressure because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
like Janice was very alone. She would feel very alone, and then she succumbed to her addictions, and that was
Janis Joplin came from the town I grew up in,
oh
so
really.
yeah, she was a big celebrity in
That's awesome.
Texas.
I
Uh,
love Janice.
and I remember when she died, it was I mean, I was a normal kid and listened to her music, but I can remember how devastated people were. You know, you had the one group that was just devastated that this happened, and then you had the other group that was like, um, well, she brought it on herself, you
Yeah.
know, the alcohol, the drugs, and whatnot. But when you perform like that nonstop, night after night after night, you're
Mhm.
always on for people. You know, there's nowhere for you to rest. exactly, Foxy Roxy. She was always looking for someone to love her
Mm.
for her, not because she was Janis Joplin, not because she was this rock idol, but
Mhm.
just to love her. Um, and she faced a lot of condemnation at home from a community that didn't understand her world. I mean, we're talking back in the 60s, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there, don't you think? It's
yeah,
interesting because Janice had someone that she really loved right before she died, and he saw her as Janice. He saw her as a woman, not a rock star, and it's very similar. I wonder if I ever looked at their charts if they have. Janice was a Capricorn, but yeah, there's something there where they're connected.
I know nothing about astrology.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know enough, but I do
Only
know
thing
that.
about astrology I know is I'm a Gemini sun, an Aries rising, and an Aquarius moon.
Oh,
I don't know what it
cool.
means, but that's
That's
all I
cool.
know. Um,
That Aquarius. I was going to ask you if you had Aquarius because you said you learned cards so fast, and I have Aquarius North Node, and I learned cards fast too. And I
and my
think
son's an
Aquarius people
Aquarius
just
sun.
understand these things. We just get it.
Yeah, my son's an Aquarius sun. I need to
Cool.
look up, find out what his rising and moon are. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I'm Gemini, Aries, Aquarius. So
Yeah.
two air signs and a fire sign. Um,
Don't they say the fire blows out the air blows out the fire or something like that? But
oh yeah.
it's interesting.
And yeah, Roxy, you're right. I mean, you get a lot of celebrities that when they go down that road of drugs and or alcohol together, it's either most of the times it's starting out it's a way of relaxing after a big show. You're all
Mhm.
wired, you're all hopped up, your adrenaline's pumping, and now you got to go get on the bus and go drive 16 hours somewhere else, you know. And
Yeah,
it's
and
really
you're
hard to get
alone.
sleep. And you're alone. There's no one there but maybe your band members or whatnot on the bus, and there's nobody to really see to your needs, and it becomes very easy to start out to take a pill to go to sleep. And of course, you arrive at the next town, you got to
Mhm.
take a pill to wake up. Then you got to take a pill to perform because you're so exhausted. It becomes this vicious cycle. Um,
It's like
it's
Johnny Cash. Yeah,
yeah,
Johnny Cash had that problem. Yeah.
yeah. Between the drug, the alcohol does the same thing. It numbs you. You know,
Yeah.
at first it's a blessing because it numbs you, but then it takes over, and there's more pain involved with it than there is relief. Um,
I agree. It's like you think the world loves you, and then you're alone in your dressing room or whatever, and then nobody can fulfill. That's the thing. Nobody can ever fulfill what's inside of you, and that's a
right.
lesson for all of us. You can be a star, you can be just a common person, but we're all in the eyes of spirit. We're all somebody. They know who we are, and but it's our
Right.
inside. That's just we all have to find a way to. And I was saying this before that the reason why it's so hard for us on earth is because in heaven we're connected to source.
Yeah.
Here on earth we're separated, or we think we are, but we can't feel it, like because we're in a different frequency.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
it's hard to get the love that you need from someone else if you don't love yourself first.
That's right.
You know, um, and that's a lesson I think we all have to learn at some stage in our life. We have to learn that we have to love ourselves first. How can you go out and love somebody else when you don't know what love is? If you don't love yourself, how can you expect someone to love you if you don't love yourself? It
That's true.
it's
And energy attracts energy, so if
yeah,
you're If you don't love
That's
yourself,
very.
so,
That's I'm reading what Janet put here. And like that's very true with Catherine. I mean, her dad was a pilot. Her mom was a stay at home mom, and then she decided to start a little business, party stuff for kids because she enjoyed doing that, and it grew into a multi-million-dollar corporation. She was very successful at it. So Catherine didn't grow up poor, but she grew up from parents, middle class parents, who worked hard to get what they had and worked hard to send her to the kind of schools that she would get the education that she got. Her and her brother and her sister, all three of them. And so, I think she brought a lot of that stability, home life stability, into William's life that he had always
I
missed.
agree.
You know, because one, how do you get that kind of stability if you're growing up in a freaking castle? Of all things,
Yeah,
your
true. The
grandmother's the
servants.
damn queen.
Yeah.
I mean, stop and think about that for a minute. Grandmother's the queen,
Hmm.
and it's not like most of our grandmothers. Um, but still, nonetheless, I think Catherine brought a lot of that stability to him because he
Hmm.
saw what happened to his mom. He saw how his mother was torn
Yeah.
down. Just like there were people close to Janet Joplin who saw what that world was doing to her,
Hmm.
but they didn't know how to help her,
Yeah.
especially back in the 60s. So much of that stuff was so kind of new to people across the board that they didn't know and understand addictions and how to deal with them. Um, most people were just told to keep it in the back bedroom or in the closet. You don't let anybody know that you got an issue. Um,
Yeah. I agree.
doesn't help the family, but there you go. So, um, but they
Um,
were both.
Foxy Roxy. Thanks for stopping by, Foxy Roxy. And we're about to probably shut it down here. Sherry, thank you. And thanks
You're
for everyone.
welcome. Oh wow, we've been going a while. I
Yeah,
tend to run off at the mouth sometimes. You got to tell me time out. Um,
it was good to have you here. I'm really glad that we got to read together. It's really interesting.
Absolutely. And you're gonna have to come on my channel now. So
All right. That'd be
before we
great.
uh, before we back off, we'll pull out our calendars and see what works. And thank y'all for coming and hanging with us tonight and listening to us sit and ramble.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
I
it's
still
too bad
keep
we.
thinking about this damn card. It just keeps like, oof.
Yeah, it's
But
maybe that'll come out one day. Probably. I'm surprised it hasn't yet, actually. But maybe the Suns maybe don't want it to, or I don't know. It's probably for the best, but
or whoever knows about it may have decided not to release it because of the Suns.
yeah, that's very true.
It might cause them more pain.
Mm,
Um, I think both William and Harry have been through enough pain in their life.
I agree.
They deserve happiness. And
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Heather. Thanks, Sharon. Thanks, Sonia, Roxy, Janet.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Well, until we meet again, we'll, we'll do this again. It was
I'll
great.
see y'all tomorrow night. Tomorrow
Yeah.
night's party night.
All right.
You're welcome too. I'm going to send you the invite.
Mhm.
Um, my 2-year anniversary.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So it's just an excuse to have a party and give away stuff.
That's nice.
I like to have parties. So.
Well, you're in New Orleans, so right? Are you in New Orleans
No,
or
I'm
just Louisiana?
about 2 hours west of New Orleans.
All right.
I am like just across the swamp from Baton Rouge.
That's awesome.
And there's an 18-mile bridge across the swamp that's between us and Baton Rouge. So
Oh my goodness.
so yeah, I'm way down here in the bottom.
Mhm. And I bet it's
Mm.
humid. I can't stand humidity, but I would go to Louisiana. Probably not Florida, but I've always wanted to see Louisiana, so I'd have to bear with the mosquitoes.
It's a beautiful state. It's the swamp has its own beauty. It's hot and muggy, yeah, but the food is fantastic. You have good Cajun and Zydeco music, and um, there's a party somewhere, everywhere, all
Yeah.
the time. Um, except during Lent, there's a festival every weekend.
Hmm.
Somebody somewhere in the states having a festival every weekend, except during Lent. All festivals during Lent. Um, it's a very Catholic state. Um,
Yeah.
we have parishes, we don't have counties.
Interesting.
Mhm. But it's a cool place to live. I mean, there's some people you want to knock upside the head to get some knock some sense in their brains, but overall, it's a nice it's a cool place to live. I was born and raised here, so this is home.
Well, I didn't sign it off yet. Bye, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye,
And yeah,
everybody.
join Sherry with her party tomorrow. Yeah,
Yep,
make sure
tomorrow
everybody
night
drops
party
by.
time. Got lots of goodies I'm giving away. You have to be present to win.
All right, well, bye, guys. Thanks for being here. And Sherry, hold on. Let me talk to you.
Yep.
And peace out. Bye, guys. And there